What's up, Overwatch fans? We're coming to you live in Los Angeles for the 2019 Overwatch League season. It's week 4 of Stage 1, and our stage playoff race is starting to heat up. The Atlanta Reign are in second place in our Atlantic division. The Reign are looking to continue their successful start as one of our 8 expansion teams for this season. Standing in their way is the hometown Los Angeles Gladiators. The season hasn't started quite as planned for the team that finished 4th place last season. A loss today eliminates LA from Stage 1 playoff contention. Welcome inside the Blizzard Arena here in Los Angeles. We are here to get you set for another great week of Overwatch play. This is the Watchpoint Preshow, presented by State Farm. I'm Malik. We got Zoe, Brent, and Hex at the desk. How you guys feeling? Feeling good? Feeling fantastic. Ready for another week?
Peachy as always.
I'm pretty pumped, honestly. I think the matches today have potential to be fun, to be exciting, to be a little bit volatile as well in nature, maybe with that last one. So.
Right. And we got all the playoff implications. This is going to be fun. And guys, we're starting the week off right here on Watchpoint. We'll sit down with Custa and Space to find out how the team is coping with their 0-5 start so far and where they'll go from here. Plus, we'll get to know some of our stars on one of the league's new fan favorites, the Atlanta Reign, and these analysts will put their debate skills to test with some important topics. It's the return of Attack or Defend. Here are the division standings after 3 weeks of play. The NYXL are the only team to lock up a spot in our Stage 1 playoffs so far. But every other team except the Valiant still technically has a shot to get in during our last weeks of matches. But what are the stage playoffs and how do they work? I'm glad you asked. The 2019 Overwatch League season is broken up into 4 stages. At the conclusion of the first 3 stages, there's an 8-team playoff where we will crown a stage champion. What's at stake other than bragging rights? Try $200,000 to the champion and $100,000 to the runner-up. So who makes it to the stage playoff? We take the top 8 teams in the league and award a number 1 and number 2 seed to the division champions. Any tiebreakers are settled by cumulative map differential, head-to-head map differential, then head-to-head records. 8 quarterfinalists will play a 1-to-3 map format and move on to the semifinals where the format changes to 1-to-4 maps. The last 2 teams standing will face off on Sunday for a chance to take home $200,000 and the title of Overwatch Stage Champion. We've got 3 matches on the slate today, all with stage playoff implications. The Valiant will try to play spoiler as they take on the Fusion, and the Toronto Defiant square off with the Chengdu Hunters. Kicking things off is the LA Gladiators fighting for their stage playoff lives. The Gladiators haven't won a match since week 1. And things aren't getting any easier today as they face off with an Atlanta Reign squad that hasn't lost since week 1. The Reign are trying to catch up with the New York Excelsior in the Atlantic Division. Bryn, who is leading this Atlanta team right now?
In my opinion, I'm looking at Massa individually. As a player on this team, I'm looking at the Lucio player once again. I know it's going to be pretty easy to say to Fran because he's got a lot of fans. I like to pander occasionally every now and then. I like to sort of like farm up the social media followings. You know me. But Massa, in my eyes, has been honestly the key in terms of a lot of their victories. Plays Lucio to a very high degree. This in particular, you can see this clip. I mentioned this before as the match was being played against Paris earlier, but individually, he recognizes well the win conditions of what his team need to do. In that game there, it was contesting with Cruz in those 1v1s, and he did it beautifully, honestly. And I got to say as well, I'm looking forward to watching him in this match here and seeing what else he can pull off as well for his Atlanta squad. Right.
Straight up shutdown skill. And let me tell you something. The Reign, they are certainly not lacking in confidence. Check out this moment from their comms during their win over the Paris Eternal last week.
Oh my god.
Crazy guy. Very crazy guy. What do you say?
Cruz is a feeder.
What?
Yoicks. Yoicks.
Look, I love trash talk, and I want to see more of it in the league. This doggy has some bark as well as some bite, and I love it, and I want to see more of it. My only advice, do it before the match. When you do it after the match, you come across as that guy in your game who says GG easy after it's over. And let me give you some news. No one likes that guy. The other team doesn't like that guy. Your team doesn't like that guy. So keep up the trash talk, but set yourself up for it. Talk before the match and then back up. I know you're that guy.
Right. I mean, either way, though, I do love the spice. Now, on the other side, the Gladiators are struggling, so what has been the biggest problem for the Gladiators for the past couple weeks?
I think when we watch the Gladiators play the past couple of weeks, one thing was very sure or clear rather to the eye, and that's that the front line and their back line were kind of divided. There's a clear breakdown in communication between their Korean-speaking front line with Roar, Void, and DK, and their back line, Hydration, Shaz, and Big Goose. Bishu is not in anymore to actually do that translation work he did in the past. So there's no one who really bridges that gap they currently have. And we can see them looking at their statistics just on your screen, right there. That's where they are. Look at those numbers. I think we can pinpoint that back onto a communication breakdown, because Rar is going in very aggressive, but he's not really getting the support he needs to, you know, actually go in that aggressive. And on the other side, Big Goose is dying a lot. Maybe he doesn't get enough peel and support from his front line to actually survive there in the back and keep his tanks alive. So it all kind of ties in back together.
Right, the message isn't quite getting through to the entire team. You know, we all know communication is huge in Overwatch. For more on how the Gladiators are trying to improve theirs, let's welcome in Mika Burton, who spoke with the team earlier. What you got for me, Mika?
Thanks, Malik. When I spoke with the Gladiators about the team's lackluster start and was told that having such a multicultural roster has led to some early season communication challenges, they currently don't have a primary shot caller, but that might change as their meta shifts. However, Big Goose is their most vocal player, and he's picking up the flag for the time being and taking the lead. Matt Edwards, their performance coach, assured me that their language barriers are being worked on as their players are attending language classes to close the gap. They do believe they can get back to last year's success, and this might be the start. So Malik, back to you at the desk.
All right, thank you very much, Mika. As we look at Hydration's rank on the all-important Brigida, he's got some top 10 stats, but he's also got some in the bottom half of the league stats there as well. Bryn, you mentioned before the show that evaluating Brigida is not just about stats, so please explain why.
I don't want to read into the numbers too much when it comes to Brigida. I mean, your main impact when you're playing that hero is going to be how you're using your armor packs. So you're chucking them out at the enemies, right? Are you going to be using them effectively? Because that seems to be the #1 issue with the Gladiators. Like Mika touched on just then, they've got communication issues. Like you said, Zoe, they got communication issues. You can tell this from watching this team play. So this is what they need to shape up now moving forward, I think, is actually working out how they're going to be working as a team way better than they have been right now, because Raw's being left out to dry. He's being hung out there, dying all the time. It's not pretty, and I think a lot of it comes down to like the ability just being misused all over the place from both Hydration. You know, I don't want to pin the blame just on this guy, because it's not just his fault. The triple tank, triple support meta, it's pretty much everyone's fault. That's the beauty of this now, is that there is no scapegoat for one player that Reddit can't just pick on these days. It's actually the whole team that needs to shape up now.
That's right. Everybody has to take some accountability. Well, guys, the Gladiators aren't the only team from LA that's struggling. The Valiant have yet to win a match this season. How is this rough start affecting the team internally? We'll hear from the Valiant themselves about that coming up on the Watchpoint pre-show.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
Valiant fall to 0-5 is something I never imagined I'd be saying to begin this Overwatch 2019 season.
As a team, personally, we've just really struggled to bring it together, and because of that, we've lost confidence.
There's still a lot of gaps and holes between the players that's costing us the matches that are really close.
I think right now it's just all the players coming together and getting used to each other.
Building together as a team is something that we're struggling right now. We all just want to get the first win out of the way.
They said they would rather work out the kinks within the team in Stage 1 than Stage 4, and it can really only go up from here.
That doesn't mean we can't turn this season around. You know, we're 5 games into a 28-game season.
The wings out for the Los Angeles Valiants.
The core is there, and we have a lot to build off of.
It's going to be, grinding over time. We're going to lose more matches. It's not going to come overnight. So it's about us as a team, willing to focus regardless of all that. We just need to keep our confidence and start winning games. And then once that happens, I think, this team will take off.
Gotta love the positive mental attitude. The Valiant, they get another chance to turn things around today when they face off against the Philadelphia Fusion. The Fusion are sort of under the radar so far at 3-2 and in 6th place overall. The Valiant have 5 losses already. And for reference, it took them 15 matches to reach 5 losses last season. So, do you have any hope that the LA Valiant will be able to improve things?
You really want me to say no in the LA arena? Of course there is hope, Malik. There is always hope. But no, in all seriousness, if we get thanks on it, if we're looking at their schedules, so far, the only teams they faced off against were expansion teams, except, of course, NYXL. But, no one's angry at the loss versus NYXL. So, I do think there is a big chance of them actually looking a lot better today because they were put out of their comfort zone. They played against players they didn't know, they're not familiar with, teams they didn't necessarily know very well and weren't familiar with. So maybe this is a great opportunity for them when they go up against the Fusion, who, by the way, don't look super hot in 3-3 meta. Maybe there's a good opportunity to be back in their comfort zone and going up against something they actually know. So I hope that gives them a little bit more confidence.
I respect the Valiant fans enough to believe that they know what I'm about to say is true. The problem is they have multiple problems. It's not an easy fix across the board. You can't just blame Kooky or Agilities or Fate, because if you watch this team play, every single fight, 5 people are on the same page, 1 guy isn't. And it's across the board. It's everybody's fault. So you can't just swap someone out on this roster and expect things to change overnight. Who was that Custa guy? Is he going to come in and fix things?
Are you going to put it throw?
I haven't seen him play yet.
He's an all-star, right?
I guess you could lump it into communication overall, but everybody has had bad moments and bad plays, and they make uncharacteristic mistakes. They could legitimately probably be 5-0 if you look at the footage.
Indeed. The LA Valiant struggles have definitely been on display. But on the other side, it's kind of tough to get a read on just how good this Fusion team is. So this meta doesn't seem to suit them perfectly. But Bryn, how are they 3-2 right now?
It is an interesting question, isn't it? Because this team was the one, they were in the finals last year. We were expecting big things from them, and they seem to be struggling a little bit. But I don't want to talk about the struggle part. I want to talk about the one thing that is kind of working for them right now. And it's Carpe. This guy in overtime, once again, is a guy you can rely on almost every time. You remember last year, he had a ridiculous... okay, I need to read out this stat here. Final blows in overtime, team fight wins while short-handed or even strength. I don't know what that means, but I think it translates into clutch kills, maybe. I mean, it's a bit long-winded, I won't lie. It is long-winded, but he is in the top half when it comes to that. He's 29th out of 102 players in the league so far this season. This is something that Carpe's always been good at, is getting the clutch kills, clutching for his team in those overtime situations. How many times have we seen Philly be in that map 5 and come back from it in the end? So yeah, this is one thing that I think that they can still rely on a little bit, but it's not, I'm not saying it's all roses at the end of the day, Malik, because they still have problems, mate,
Indeed.
Problems.
Indeed. All right. Well, the team right behind Philly in the standings, we'll hope they get a chance to jump past them today. The 7th place Toronto Defiant take on the 12th place Chengdu Hunters. The Defiant need 2 wins and a Dallas loss to get on our Stage 1 playoffs. Chengdu's scenario is a bit more complicated, but it definitely starts with stacking wins of their own. Hex, how can the Hunters do that today against Toronto?
I love the Hunters. I just love their play style, and I love that they run off-meta heroes, but they're so close to being a really good team. If you look at what they were doing in their last match, they get EMPs into Barrage, and it looks really good. The problem is they never did that ever again. EMP would be at 96%, and they would go for Barrage. This right here, look at that. EMP into Barrage, 5K, you wipe them up. And then they just started playing like you play on ladder. I have ult, I'm gonna use ult. They need only a couple of communication issues to figure this out because these compositions can work. Teams don't know how to play against it, but it's just about comboing ultimates and using the meta to their advantage in those scenarios.
I hope they figure it out. They're so exciting to watch. And for Toronto, their 3 wins are against teams with losing records. What's been the Defiant's greatest asset in those wins?
That's a great question. You know, here's the thing. Hex just said that Hunters are so exciting. They're fun. Toronto are... They just kind of get the job done. They're not exciting to watch at all, actually.
They're textbook?
They're just textbook, but not in the way of like, hey, we have like some real strategic depth. Like we have that teamwork going for it. It's like none of that actually. It's really just kind of individual skill and their mechanics, which somehow makes them edge out the victories time and time again.
Yeah, consistently, they are probably getting on board. I think a really good, reasonable comparison is actually they're kind of like Valiant, but they're winning, you know? So that they've got that going on now. Like, I don't think they do anything.
The crowd's not going to like that one, Brad.
I know I'm brave saying that in this crowd.
Chill out, bro. Chill out.
I'm beyond caring at this point. Like, it's just a sea of green and purple back there, mate. I don't know. I can't really win with the LA Valiant. But this squad, they've got 2 players in particular that I'm looking at. Ivy and Envy, I think they're playing very well. Envy, I think we all sort of discredited a little bit last
Former Valiant player.
Yeah, former Valiant player as well. This is a guy, Envy, I do want to say this because we didn't really respect him that much last year. Yeah. I didn't think he was a particularly good player. He is improved now. This year, he's come in looking like an entirely different player. So very impressed with that young lad as well.
Yeah, him and Ivy have both been a joy to watch.
He's that young. I think he's actually older than me, but yeah.
We'll roll with it for now. All right. Well, guys, if the Overwatch League was a popularity contest, the Atlanta Reign might be winning that. When we come back, we'll get to know some of the Reign stars and what has this team near the top of our standings. Don't go anywhere. This is the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm.
We are the Atlanta Reign.
My teammates, I think they're all really nice, and I think we all get along super well.
Our biggest strength is we're all very good mechanically.
Somehow, the Atlanta Reign have managed to turn this one around.
People are very loud in our team. We have a lot of personalities.
Bruises of theater!
Oh my god.
We joke around, speak to each other, and it's a good team.
되게 재밌게 지내는 것 같아요.
I think everyone's favorite teammate is Daco. He is crazy. He's loud and says funny stuff, but he's a good guy. You should root for us because we have good people and we're gonna pop off.
And speaking of the Atlanta Reign, check them out, getting ready for their matchup with the Gladiators today. Will we see another awesome Graviton from DeFran? Either way, they're one step closer to making it to the stage playoffs with the win. Now, We know our analysts have strong opinions about all things Overwatch League, so let's take some time to hash things out and see whose opinion is the strongest. It's attack or defend. I'll set a point, and the analysts will attack or defend it. First up, the NYXL are 6-0 and in first place. They're the only team to have already clinched a stage playoff spot and are on the verge of an undefeated stage 1. The point is, NYXL are the best team in the league right now. Zoe, attack or defend?
I'm gonna defend that point. Of course they are the best team in the league right now. They have been last year also, just kind of, you know, dropped the ball at the end. But we're not talking about that. They are unmatched in individual skill. They're unmatched in team play. Each and every single player of them is leading in the ranks. Am I supposed to be stopping talking? You have to,
I don't know. I'm timing. I'm trying to keep time.
It's
all
you just
good.
threw me off. But no, like each and every player is the best in their respective category. So I don't know how you can actually argue against that.
Go time. I need to talk, otherwise I'm not going to lose this. Vancouver Titans have been tested. New York have not. New York have been coasting. They went to map 5 against Valiant. Where's Valiant? Bottom of the scoreboards. Not fantastic from there. All I'm saying is New York, we're going to keep saying that all day because we've got Valiant fans in the
Be careful here, Roy.
That's my opinion. At the end of the day, Vancouver Titans, I think they are the better team. They play aggressive. They're cool. Bumper, he's Wolf's son.
All right, good one, guys. Next topic. The San Francisco Shock are one of the 5 3-2 teams. The Shock have the highest map differential at +7, which puts them in 4th place overall. The point will be that the Shock are the best 3-2 team right now. Bryn, attack or defend?
I'm going to defend this point, Malik. I'm going to defend this one to my grave, I think, because I cannot trust anyone who would think otherwise. San Francisco Shock, who went toe-to-toe with Vancouver Titans, one of the best teams right now. Like, Hex, I'm going to let you speak for like 40 seconds, mate, because you need a lot of time to think of some points to try and argue this. San Francisco Shock, who are going toe-to-toe with the Vancouver Titans. Yeah. You're gonna go out when you're like this.
I mean, that sounds like you just are out of points. You know who else wants to toe with the Vancouver Titans is the Guangzhou Charge. I'm attacking this point, and I'm charging into it because the Charge are the best 3-2 team in the league. They have an MVP candidate, a Rookie of the Year candidate at the very least in Shu. You got Rhea, and you haven't even seen their final form yet. When we get damage dealers out into this league again, when we get Widowmaker play, Happy is going to crush the league. And right now, they're already beating 2. The only team they lost to, Chengdu first week, Vancouver, they took them all to 5.
Woo! Hex with the hot takes. All right, last one. We've got some amazing wardrobe here at the Overwatch League. None perhaps more ostentatious than our, that's an Uber type word right there, than our boy Uber. The point is, Uber is the best dressed caster. Hex, attack or defend?
I'm absolutely attacking this, and I'm gonna look right at the camera so that Uber can see me here. Uber looks like an old man lost at the beach drinking out of a coconut. Uber looks like he took his grandmother's tablecloth and fashioned it into some sort of horrendous garment. Uber looks like he fell into a pile of rejected wallpaper patterns. It's terrible. It's a bad look.
How dare you? How dare you? Uber is expressing his personality. That's right. And if he wants to express his personality with his grandmother's curtains or a tablecloth, let him live his best life.
The crowd seems to be behind you, Zoe, on that one.
Thank you.
You got the Uber chance going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're moments away from that action on stage. The Gladiators' newest starter, K, will take on their friend and the Atlanta Reign. It's less than 10 minutes away, so keep it parked. This is the Watchpoint pre-show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
All right, guys, before we get in our predictions and all the other stuff that we have going on today, please, Can We Disregard is our next bit. And we're going to start with you, Bren. We're going to take a look at things that, we don't want to see anymore here at the Overwatch League.
Yeah. I'm going to be starting with this one. I don't want to see Reaper played on Horizon Lunar Colony ever again. I mean, the teams that are running it all the time, you're bad. You're playing against bad teams, and that's why it's working. Don't know what scrims you're using it in, mate. You play that against a good team, just going to walk backwards, slowly win the war of attrition because you're not running a D.Va. Or better yet, you've got your D.Va player or your Zarya player, you've got them mixed up on the roles. So then when you actually eventually maybe take the first point on Horizon Lunar Colony, then you have to switch your Zarya player. So you lose your Graviton Surge anyway. So what's going on here? I want to know which coaching staff I need to speak to get this out of your head. It's a bad pick. I don't like the hero. I think it's bad.
All right, it's my turn. And my please, can we disregard is, can we please disregard everything that Bren just said, because I'd much rather see Reaper out there. I know it's not an optimal strategy. I know you can see it coming from a mile away, but I love Reaper so much. Keep losing, keep throwing him out there, guys, all right? And before we dip up out of here, it's time for our predictions. All three analysts like the Atlanta Reign over the LA Gladiators. They're also taking Philly over the Valiant. So a clean sweep of our hometown teams today. Bren is on his own with the Toronto over Chengdu, while Sohi and Hex like the Hunters.
Look,
we're not making out of the arena.
In my heart, I wanted to pick the LA teams, but you can only love with the heart, you think with your head. That's why I made my picks.
All right, guys, we're getting out of here. Thank you for watching the pre-show presented by State Farm. Enjoy the matches!